Meet the man whose role is both behind the scenes and on the front line for the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. We're focused on the present and the future of the Myrtle Beach area, and we're visiting with the Chamber President and CEO, Brad Dean. Good morning, Brad.
Good to be here. Welcome to the Chamber.
Oh, we love being here. You know, a year ago we were here focused on Sun Fun and had a huge week focused on the 56th second annual Sun Fun, and Lance Thompson kicked off the week and ended the week, and it was so exciting. And recently we were with Lance and so many of the other folks back at the Chamber focused on Sun Fun, Brad, and it was amazing.
Sun Fun brings back so many great memories of the community. It reminds us what's special and best about the community. It's always fun to remember what it was and look forward to what it will be in the future.
Yeah, Brad, and it's also exciting for us at Carolina People to have you back. I think about the first time you were with us when we were out at Santee Cooper about a little more than a year ago. We were focused on the upcoming walk. You and Graham Edwards co-chairing the 10th Annual American Heart Walk, which was a huge success, or 8th Annual, out at the pavilion in memory of Ashby Ward, and it was so amazing. And y'all exceeded goal, I think, by 49%.
Phenomenal. The community really turned out and made it a huge success. And the last time I was on the show, I think you helped me get promoted, so I'm on a roll here.
Oh, yeah.
I may go out and buy lottery tickets after this. Great. Carolina People's been good.
I don't think you can get promoted to too much more, Brad. This is the most exciting thing for us, to see the expansion and some of the very moving recognition throughout the community of your entrance into this President CEO slot. How are you feeling now?
I'm loving it. It's every bit as much fun as it was the first day. It's a lot of work, and obviously, Ashby Ward built the chamber. It was built around him in a lot of ways, and you don't fill those shoes. But I'm certainly happy to follow in the footsteps and try to take it to a different level than we've been before.
A lot's been happening since you ascended to the position, Brad. We think about in November, I think, sponsoring the Freshman Caucus. There's a big event that was in Columbia.
Yeah, we really felt the need to get more active legislatively, and I think everybody in this area of South Carolina realizes this is a cash cow. Tourism is the #1 industry. This area funds so many other things throughout the state, but we haven't always gotten the respect in other parts of the state. And like politics or not, you got to play the game, and so we're getting involved based on issues. And we've brought legislators here, we've gone there, and we're trying to continue to hit the same issues so they know that we're present, they know our needs, and they can work on our behalf to help not only this area, but the entire state of South Carolina.
There are things going on every month, it seems like, and not every month, every week, and virtually every day at the Chamber. This is a full-time job for you.
Well, it sure is, and it's got to be. The board expects that, but the neatest thing, I think, is that we're bringing people together. Every one of these legislative events is not about me. It's not even about the Chamber. We're bringing other chambers and organizations and individuals involved. And we've got such a great story to tell here, but we've also got great needs, and I think the value of this organization is that when we can serve as that network to bring people together and help all of us to speak with one voice, we can accomplish our goals a lot quicker and a lot easier than trying to do it individually. So that, to me, is the real role of this chamber, and I hope we're doing that.
The Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce serves such a large area, Brad. I mean, you're not only talking about Horry and Georgetown County and so many of the communities they're in, and there are a lot of other chambers, the North Myrtle Beach Chamber, the Conway Chamber, the Loris Chamber, the Georgetown Chamber. There's a lot of folks involved. But you're really serving the South. I mean, the Southeast wraps around at some level.
We really are. Our members run the gamut. We've got members in North Carolina, members in Charleston County, and, of course, a heavy concentration in Horry and Georgetown County. And I think that's incumbent upon us to act as an area chamber and to serve as a network for other chambers and associations and businesses. We don't view the other chambers as competitors. I view them as siblings. And the Conway Chamber, the North Myrtle Beach Chamber, Loris, Aner, Little River, they serve a very important function. And I'm glad they're there, but I'm also glad that we can serve them and help make them part of the team that's going to help this area improve and expand in our future.
Cooperation's such a big word, and that ties in when you're talking about working with political leaders, ties in working with other chambers, ties in working with your members. How do you let the members know that you're cooperating with all those groups? How do you get the word out to your members to give them the goal setting that you all are putting in place?
It's a great question, and I hope that we're constantly learning how to improve upon that. Coordination and communication are absolutely key. We've got to make sure the members know what we're doing, but we've also got to look for ways to cooperate, and whether it's cooperative advertising, events, you name it, There's just opportunities in everything we do to expand and enhance the cooperation throughout the area, and that's small businesses as well as large. That's businesses that don't directly get involved in tourism as well as those who are intimately involved in tourism. I think that's sort of our role, is to be the glue that brings the business community together.
Real quick about yourself, Brad, for one of our viewers in Hartsville or Laurinburg who may not have met you here in the area, or even a viewer in Myrtle Beach who may not be a member of the Chamber of Commerce but is interested in you. Are you originally from the area?
No, originally grew up in the Midwest in a small farming community, and I wasn't going to be a farmer or a factory worker or a teacher, and that pretty much eliminated my career opportunities there. I graduated from the University of Illinois in accounting. I worked for General Electric in the East Coast and the Puerto Rico area in the Caribbean, and then joined the Rank organization as a controller and then general manager of a Hard Rock Cafe, and that brought me here to the 70-foot pyramid in Myrtle Beach, and of course the logical transition from GE to Hard Rock Cafe to a Chamber of Commerce, a career path that most people would follow, but I found a home in Myrtle Beach. My wife and I love it here, our kids love it here, and it's home, and I expect to be here for a long, long time.
Yeah, think about that transition, Brad. When you think about some of those experiences over, let's say, the last 10 years that really stick out in your mind and help gauge you to where you are today, or help shape you to where you are today, what are some of those real aspects that have helped change your life and set you for this position to take over the chamber?
You know, I think back to the community I grew up in. It was a small town. Everybody knew everybody. And my father and his father before him grew up there, but it's a little sad to think about today. It's a town that died on the vine, maybe due to a lack of vision, but also a lack of diversity and cooperation. And they didn't think ahead to what they needed to be. They were very comfortable with what they had been. And I don't ever want to see that happen to this community. There's too much vibrancy and too much life and potential here. I also think when you grow up in a small farming community, you learn the value of firsthand work, of working with people and for people and through people to accomplish great things. And when I look at the Myrtle Beach area, we have so much to offer, but the greatest things we will accomplish will only be accomplished together.
Oftentimes it's getting down to the basics, Brad, and I think a lot of viewers just would have some interest in knowing exactly what is a Chamber of Commerce. And let's obviously talk about the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. What is a Chamber of Commerce, and how does it benefit businesses and then the community writ large?
The Chamber is an ever-evolving organization. I don't think we can ever define ourselves as any one service or entity, except for the fact that our goal is to make the business community better, to help improve the quality of life, not only for businesses, but for residents, because this area is a great place to live, work, and play, and we're mindful of that. Our role is to provide services and opportunities for business to improve and expand their operation, whether that's promoting tourism, providing training, helping businesses promote their business, bring new customers to the area, or act legislatively on things like Interstate 73 or the need for improved air service or larger convention centers. Our role is to bring people together and help them speak as one voice so that we can accomplish things and help them make their business even better.
Okay, so Chambers of Commerce almost always wrap around businesses, but speak for communities.
Yeah, and the folks in Charleston will tell you they have the oldest Chamber of Commerce in the country. They were part of the colonial institution years ago when the country was not even a nation, but just individuals that came from Europe to establish businesses and a better life here. But actually, the folks in Charleston might be surprised to find out that the first Chambers of Commerce were actually in the ancient days when commercial traders and business people came together in a marketplace. And the chamber was actually the entity that brought people together to trade goods and commodities. So really, Chambers of Commerce date back centuries, and it's all about one thing, bringing people together to improve communication and coordination through commerce and communication. It's changed in its format and its shape and its message, but in large part, we're still doing the things that were happening hundreds of years ago.
How exciting, Brad. It is exciting to think about being involved. How many members would there be within the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce?
We have over 2,300 paid members, and of course a lot of unpaid members, nonprofit associations and whatnot. But Greg, I view our membership, paid membership anyway, as just being a portion of our members. I think everybody watching this program today in some way, shape, or form is a member of our chamber, because whether you agree or disagree with what we do and how we do it, we impact the community. And every business person is a resident at heart. And we all want to see this continue to be a great place to live, not just a place to work and operate a business. So I think everybody really is a member of the chamber. Some of them pay, some of them don't, but we really impact the lives and the welfare of all the people in our area and businesses as well. So I think the network is beyond just businesses. It's people like you and me that want to make this an even greater place to live, work, and play.
And is that how y'all go about recruiting new members, Brad? When you think about it, I know y'all have had some spectacular changes going on within the membership division and surely exciting things. I think you talked a little bit about that the other day as to how to spearhead and target new members. Why would a viewer, if they worked for a business, want to encourage their boss to get involved in the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce?
Well, you shouldn't get involved in the chamber if you don't want to improve your business. I mean, if you don't have any reason to prove you don't think you can do any better, then this isn't the place to be. We're the place to be if you want to get involved in the community, help improve your business or the area. And I think one of the reasons that you get involved certainly is to be aware and to network. The Chamber offers a number of networking opportunities for people who, if they aren't new to the community, maybe haven't been as involved, maybe they've made career changes, or maybe businesses are expanding, enhancing their operation. If you like training and research, it's a great opportunity for the Chamber to provide those services to you. We advertise businesses, for the most part tourism businesses, but there's a lot of businesses that benefit from our advertising that aren't directly dealing with members. And then, frankly, I think one of the greatest things about the Chamber is being a part of a team. And we all have the opportunity to cooperate and collaborate to sort of make 1 + 1 = 3. So if you're looking to make this a better place to live, work, or play, I don't think there's a better entity to be involved in than the Chamber. And the great thing about it is that it takes advantage of people's strengths, whether you are behind-the-scenes volunteer, whether you want to be out in front on certain issues, whether you like advertising, marketing, programs, services, finance, research. There's a role for everybody in the community to play, whether or not they work for a business. And we certainly involve that. I think our greatest strength is our volunteer base and the support we have from the community, officials, politicians, business people, but average residents that want to get involved and make it an even better place to be.
And volunteerism is so vital. And I know, obviously, the week focused on Sun Fun, highlighting some of those amazing folks like Glenn Arnett and Suzette Rogers and Harold Clarity and Lou Edgar, so many of the folks that were with us sharing what volunteerism is all about.
Yeah, and I think if Mr. Ward were here today, he would echo this, that the Chamber President sometimes gets credit for things that go well, and it's people like Harold Clarity, Suzette Rogers, Lou Edgar that make those things happen. Lance Thompson for years has just dedicated time like you wouldn't believe. Carson Benton, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Those are the people that for one reason and one reason only get involved in the Chamber, and that's to help improve this community, to make it an even better place to live, work, and play, and to attract visitors and help them to have a great time when they're here. You know, we're fortunate to live in a place that people save up their hard-earned dollars to come and play in our backyard, and there's a lot of people like the ones we just mentioned that understand that, and for years have used the Chamber as a vehicle to get involved.
Mm-hmm. But y'all did a survey, or the Chamber sent out a survey not too long ago, both to its members and maybe to other folks in the community, trying to get some feedback as to some of the needs perceived by membership as well as others. What were some of the results of that survey? What was the original plan behind that, and what were some of the results?
I think you've got to know where you're at before you know where you're going. And we wanted to get feedback from the members to truly understand what were we doing well, what weren't we doing well. Sort of a report card. And we hadn't done that. And I think it was important for me personally to understand that, but more importantly for the organization and the board of directors to understand what do our members think. You know, we've got 2,300 members, and surprisingly enough, most of our members are small businesses with 5 employees or less. You don't think that that is the traditional member, but that's our biggest membership segment. So we really just asked, how are we doing? And what aren't we doing that we need to be doing? And we got some great feedback. They like some things we're doing. The tourism promotion is critical. They like the services we're providing, but they also said we need more training, we need more development. We need you to be involved in legislative affairs. We need you to lead the effort and help make this area more respected throughout the state and in Washington. And so the feedback we got has really enabled us to work with the board to develop more of a strategic plan for the coming years so that we can take the Chamber to the next level. Not to suggest that anything was wrong, but rather how do we make things better going forward.
Mm-hmm. In that aspect, tourism advertising, I know I read a piece, there was a 2-part series in the Myrtle Beach Herald a few weeks back, Paul Gable had worked on, and there was some aspect in there that from some of the results of the survey, #1 priority, tourism advertising. How do y'all go about doing that? How do you decide the markets you're going to focus on? What are feeder markets? Obviously, I think I saw you talk about in that article places like Charlotte. You may run a spot up there promoting Myrtle. So many folks already know about Myrtle.
Right.
Places in Atlanta, you know, a lot of folks even in Georgia and others may think of Myrtle Beach as being somewhere else in Florida. I mean, you know, that's...
Yeah. Well, there's 3 types of visitors in my view, Greg. The first are those visitors like in Charlotte. They know us. They've been here before, and we can't take them for granted. There's a lot more competition in the tourism industry today than there's ever been. And we are under attack, frankly. Places like Orlando are coming right after the visitors that come here because we have a very loyal visitor base. So we don't want to take them for granted. We've got to continue to remind them all we have to offer, especially the new entertainment opportunities that they didn't enjoy maybe the last time they were here. The second kind of visitor is in a market that knows about us, but they may not know enough. Maybe they think we're just golf or just theaters. So I think part of our role is to influence those people in places like Atlanta and Nashville. They kind of know we're out there, but maybe we're not that first choice on their vacation list. We want them to get excited about the Myrtle Beach area and want a piece of that action, make this their place for their next vacation. And then there's a third visitor, and this is the biggest opportunity. People that don't even know we're out there. People in Chicago that think we're just another city in Florida. We've got to go out and reach them, and you do that in a different way than we've traditionally reached customers. You've got to convey excitement and pizzazz. You've got to convince them this is a good place to come and show them how to get here. And so we're trying to balance that approach. I don't think we can go too far in one direction or the other, but we're very fortunate to have a lot of support from businesses and local state government to invest money in tourism advertising. Every dollar spent on tourism advertising will generate at least $300 to $400 in economic return to this area. That's a job for you, me, and the people watching here today. So that's really, really important, but we can't assume that doing it the same old way will get the same results, much less better results. We've got to constantly look for ways to set new trends, not simply follow them. And I think that's our greatest challenge in advertising.
Mm-hmm. Talk to a viewer. Obviously, it wouldn't be, and I know the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce represents so many folks, but let's talk to a viewer, let's say in Mullins. And when you think about that aspect of, you've got the 2,300 members within the chamber, you've got the 2,300 members in the chamber, and of course so many folks think, why is tourism advertised, and what is that? How is that going to impact me? I mean, you think about that aspect. I'm sure there's some members who may not think that the tourism is what drives their business. How do you go about speaking to them? It may be a small minority within the chamber, but how do you speak to them and let them know that tourism advertising is going to have an impact on their business as well?
Great question, and probably one of the most common that comes up, because there are a lot of businesses that say, I appreciate what you do, but I don't deal with tourists. But think of all the employees in this area that buy houses, that rent apartments, they buy groceries, they buy cars. Basically, everybody in this area is tied to tourism, directly or indirectly. We may not think about it. And frankly, at times when you've got bikers roaming around on loud Harleys, or we're sitting in traffic on 501, sometimes it's hard to be too appreciative of all those tourists. But those people are taking their hard-earned money and investing it in this community. And that's the way I think about it. They're investing in us as opposed to someone else. That creates jobs, which circulates throughout our local economy. At a very minimum, every dollar spent by a tourist recirculates here through 12 times. So unless you just don't live here and you don't shop and buy groceries, you don't golf or do anything other than maybe just stay in your house all day and watch cable TV, you benefit from tourism. And we think everybody in this area ought to support tourism indirectly, if not directly, because it is our number one industry. It's the state's number one industry. As much as we've suffered through some tough budget crises in the state lately, if it weren't for tourism, this state would be in a terrible financial crisis. So tourism has really saved the state and saved this area. And although it is not the only job sector we want to develop, it is a key sector that we have to continue to develop to continue to let this area grow and expand and stay a great place to live.
Mm-hmm. There's the big trip in February, the trip to D.C., the I-73 push. The Chamber is not only helping to spearhead, but is involved with so many others making that happen. That's going to have an impact not only on Horry County, Horry and Georgetown County, but on this entire part of the coastline. It's going to have an impact on our viewers in Mullins and Laurinburg and Hartsville. It's going to have an impact on everyone. Talk about some of the ways, we got about 7 minutes, Brad. Talk about some of the ways that that'll have an impact on the community.
Well, Interstate 73 is important for tourism, but Greg, I think the people who are watching this show in Mullins and Marion, Marlboro County, it is absolutely critical to them. In fact, I think it's more important to them than to tourism and businesses on the beaches for one simple reason. That road will open up opportunities for economic development that we have never had. It will bring jobs, good-paying, year-round jobs that we just can't attract right now. And you don't have to take my word for it. Look at any major interstate corridor, and when it's been invested into an area, jobs come almost immediately. Now, there's other parts of infrastructure that are needed, but that will help this area develop a better year-round economy with better jobs. and it will lower unemployment dramatically, but more importantly, it will transform this area. It will be an economic explosion. That's why we think it's so important. Now, we're the only major vacation destination that's grown up this far without an interstate. But to think of I-73 as a road for tourists is so limiting. That road starts here, and it carries products and people north and south. It will allow us to attract jobs and industry. It will bring more tourists, and it could save lives in the event of a hurricane. I don't think the state or this area has any greater priority in infrastructure than I-73, and I think that's why it's so important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Brad. And it is important that you're speaking to others, and I'm so glad you made that point. If a viewer in Marlboro County was interested in getting involved to see what they could, A, learn about I-73 or wanted to get involved to help bring it to fruition and to reality, what's the best way for them to get involved?
Well, first and foremost, if you got internet access, check out www.sci73.com. That'll give you a lot of information and updates on there. Timing is particularly important here because the United States Congress is currently debating a bill that will allow funding to begin for I-73. And I think all of us in South Carolina share one opinion that no one can argue with. For years, we have been a donor state. We have spent more money building roads in Massachusetts and Connecticut than we have here. And with no disrespect to our friends up north, we deserve our money, and we want it to build some roads here. And we want to do a little bit of nation building right here in the Palmetto State and build I-73. So if people are really interested, I would certainly encourage them to contact their congressman. Of course, Congressman Brown in District 1 has been critical to help further this, but Congressman Spratt and Congressman Clyburn are going to be key players. This road won't get built without their active support. So let our senators and federal representatives know just how important this is. People like Jackie Hayes and Doug Jennings and Jim Battle in those areas have been so helpful, as well as the Horry County delegation. But it won't stop there. We have got to continue the push to get I-73 built. And it's going to start with funding, and it's going to start this year. So now's the time to call and let them know how important that support for that bill is.
Could a viewer contact the chamber if they, or would there be anyone to talk to here if they wanted to learn more?
I would hope everybody here would talk about I-73 because we've established it as one of our top priorities, and certainly can contact the chamber at 843-626-7444 for more information, or check the website. But most importantly, be aware of it, stress it with your representatives, and continue to talk about it. We think going to Washington and bringing them here has done, if nothing, raised the awareness and the level of excitement for this project. People in Washington that didn't even know this project existed are now talking about it, but talking won't build roads. It takes money and it takes commitment, and we're going to have to get that commitment in Columbia and Washington, and it will really happen because of viewers like yours who will make it happen. Not the Chamber of Commerce, but average Joes like you and me.
Mm-hmm. Brad, we got about 4 minutes. The Chamber and you and everyone within the Chamber and so many of the volunteers for the Chamber, your volunteer board and others are working so hard to put the Chamber in front of decision makers, whether it's locally, regionally, nationally. That's an effort that, what's the easiest way to do that, and what's the toughest obstacle in doing that?
Well, I think the obstacle is getting everybody on one page. And I think that, frankly, is probably one of our greatest limitations. I think for too many years, particularly in recent years, Greg, we've forgotten what our greatest strength in this area was, and that was cooperation. The Myrtle Beach area was built upon the backs of entrepreneurs who worked together cooperatively and collaboratively to build this beach into all that it is today. But we've lost a little bit of that. I think sometimes we become so inward focused and we start looking at city lines and county lines and waterways. Those boundaries don't exist in the minds of visitors or legislators. We create them for ourselves. So I think our greatest challenge and our biggest obstacle has been to get people together. But you know, when people get together, even when they disagree, but they share ideas and insights, we've found that has worked to bring people together and start to work on compromises. And that's worked in the case of I-73. It's worked in the case of timeshares. It's worked in the case of tourism promotion. We accomplish so much more together than we do alone. So I think when we focus inward, we find our limitations. But when we focus outward, that's when we start to overcome those limitations and recognize all of our strengths.
Speaking of accomplished, Brad, what accomplishment over the past year do you think you're most proud of?
Survival, first of all, and I'm still married, and the children are still happy. That is not a given with the hours and demands of the job. I think the greatest accomplishment is not me, but our team coming together, the team of staff at the Chamber and the board, really, I think, starting to gel. You know, when you lose somebody like Ashby Ward, I mean, that's like losing a Joe Montana. That's like losing a Lou Gehrig. You don't replace those people. And any success that we have in the past year or in future years won't be because of me. It will be because of people around me. I hope to work through them and certainly not against them. And so I would say our greatest obstacle, or our greatest accomplishment so far has been the people who've rallied to the cause, volunteers, the directors, and particularly the staff that are working together, are buying into a vision that agrees that we can become something better, and then making it happen.
That's great, Brad. I think I've asked you this question before, but I can't remember the answer, and so I thought I'd ask it again. If you weren't in this current position as president and CEO of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, what do you think you'd be doing?
Boy, if you asked me before, I'm probably going to give you a different answer. I'm not sure what the right answer was. I would have to be doing something that involves me in the community. Having been in corporate America, and certainly the money is good in corporate America, and stock options are nice, and I learned a lot, but you feel distance, and you feel removed, and you feel that your impact is limited because it's always measured by a bottom line. And as much as I'm a numbers guy, and as much as I enjoy business, I think I'd have to be doing something that involves me in the community to help make the community around me a better place. Maybe that's because I grew up in a small town. Maybe it's because I just love this area and see the great potential it has. But no matter whether I work for a chamber of commerce, a for-profit entity, or a not-for-profit entity, it would have to be something that would enable me to help make the community around me better. Not necessarily for me, but for those who benefit after I'm here.
Growing up in a small town in the Midwest, and obviously working in Puerto Rico, working for one of the nation's, one of the world's largest companies, think about inspirations in your life, Brad. Who do you think's had the biggest, served as the biggest inspiration for your life?
Well, I've got a deep fondness in my heart for educators. I think any of us would have to admit that some of the people that have impacted us the most are educators. My father dedicated his life to education, and certainly that's been a big inspiration to watch he and others that could have done many other things that would have benefited them, but they really committed themselves to educating children. And, there's an old saying that those who can do, those who care, teach. And we've got some great people like Jarita Postaway and some wonderful teachers in Horry County, a great system in Georgetown County and other areas of the state that really commit that. So I think teachers, and particularly ones that taught me, are very inspiring. I think also just when I see my 9-year-old son Brian and the optimism and enthusiasm of children, with Emma Claire, children just see the world through a different set of eyes, and I find that energizing. No problem that I exist would be a problem in my son's eyes because everything is doable, and I think that's neat too. And frankly, Ashby Ward was a great inspiration. I have a much greater appreciation for what he did and more importantly how he did it, but people like Ashby Ward and others at the time that he came really had vision, and not only did they have vision, they acted on that vision, and that takes courage, and they sustained it to build this area to all that it is today. It's pretty magical, pretty special, and I hope to build upon that and make it just a little bit better.
That's great. Brad, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Brad Dean coming up next. Brad Dean striving to remain out of the spotlight. If you've sat here the last 30 minutes, you know why it's tough for him to do. He's got to get out there. He's got to speak for so many, inspired by educators like his parents, inspired by his 9-year-old son, and the names of the likes of Ashby Ward. He's making a difference, and we all need it.